Hey guys, this is Seanin with Unique Arts, and welcome back. I also have Liam. This is my brother. I've done one video with him before, The Art of Tolkien. If you're interested in that, I probably will stuff that in the description. And he has done a video on his own, just one for the channel, and he has his own channel as well, Liam's Lyceum, or Lyceum, whatever. Is Lyceum what it would be pronounced?
I just say Lyceum.
Yeah. I don't know exactly how we're going to go about this necessarily, but as you can tell by the title, this is going to be essentially our reaction to the Cyrano film that just came out. We're not showing any clips for the film. Obviously, we don't have any rights for that and whatnot. I try not to do too many spoilers, okay. But largely the reaction comes from a place of, we have some knowledge of the play, the original. So if you don't know, Cyrano is based off of an 1897 play by Rostand called Cyrano de Bergerac. Title character is the main guy.
Yeah,
Peter Dinklage plays Cyrano in the film. And there's been different film adaptations. You've actually seen one. Was it in French or was it just...
It was in French. I've seen the 1990 version that stars Gerard Depardieu.
Okay, doesn't mean anything
French
to me.
actor. It's a pretty good version actually too.
Oh, okay. Was it similar?
And it's pretty accurate to the play.
It wasn't.
Yeah, it is. It's rather similar, but no, it's not a musical.
Okay. Yeah. So the 2022 version is a musical, romance and music. I think it worked fine, honestly. So I looked it up as far as musicals for this play. Are they a thing really? Apparently there was like a 2009 version, but it's only really been performed in Tokyo and Seoul, not in the United States at least, or in France, where the play takes place or whatnot. But I think it was fine. Honestly, as a musical, it doesn't really bother me. I'm not super elitist as far as how strict they need to be, and we were kind of talking about how because it's technically an adaptation, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I think it worked very well actually as a musical. I mean, I enjoyed the music for the most part, and none of it was awful or cringe.
In fact, some of it was very touching. The story itself is pretty touching.
The story is relatively the same as the original play. So
yeah, I think there were slight differences, but for the most part, you're getting the same thing.
Yeah. As someone who's not super familiar with it, the things I think of that are differences, I'm second guessing myself. That, like I said, I've seen the movie, and I watched that 1990 version of the movie right after I had read the play in class in French, and my French is not that good, so you can understand my comprehension of what I was reading was not, all there.
And so that's one thing too, is neither of us have seen this performed as a play. He's seen one version of the movie in French and read the play in French, and I've just read the play. It's not like we're experts on this, but I mean, we are acquainted to some degree.
But I think the biggest difference that's kind of obvious is the fact that he's not in the original play. Cyrano is just someone that is ugly because he has a very big nose, and in this version it's Peter Dinklage, who is a dwarf essentially, right? So
is that the?
I have no clue what the correct term is,
because they use the term once in the film and he says midget, but I was wondering if that's just actually. Does he say that because he's kind of self-deprecating?
I think he is in that moment.
So, but yeah, that's probably definitely the biggest difference.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it works perfectly fine, to be completely honest. The main character, generally, he is undesirable just because he's ugly. It's only because he has a really large nose. Like, he's a great poet, he's a great fighter, a great warrior. Essentially, like a 10 out of 10 would smash. But, and then, except for the nose. And I guess he thinks that brings him down to, especially because he gets made fun of for it all the time. And then in this adaptation, instead of just being a dude with a big nose, he's just a dwarf. It's Peter Dinklage. I think he did, as far as casting was concerned, I think it was great. I don't have any hiccups with any of them. In fact, I just kind of wish, I felt Lebret I think he had more of a role in the play.
He probably did. They kind of shrunk down some of the roles.
It was like one scene, really, that he was in the film, pretty well. But I enjoyed him. I enjoyed all of them. I thought Christian was good. I really liked, I don't remember the actor's name, so it's pretty bad.
I don't really know any actors' names. So.
But he had a good singing voice, I thought.
Yeah, I thought Christian was really well done, and same with Roxanne, of course. I was actually surprised. I don't recognize a lot of actors and actresses, but
it was only really
Peter
Dinklage for this film. For me, so he's pretty well known. So
and it was interesting the role they gave the Guiche, which is pretty accurate to his book role, but they kind of, I guess it's not really much of a spoiler, but they toned down Valver's role.
And I think they both, Valver's is pretty limited, but at the same time I think both of them were as far as the casting goes, we did really well. Like Dagish, you get such that sense of arrogance and whatnot, and he's such a jackwagon.
Yeah,
and
he's actually kind of gross in this.
Oh yeah,
so
that's
he
true.
comes off more that way.
More like predatory, almost.
Yeah, there's a few scenes that were somewhat sexual, and like mostly in the dancing during the letters.
The choreography. I don't know how to feel about the choreography so much. I actually enjoyed it in some regards. So initially, especially with the Roxanne, it was kind of like, what is going on? Now I know what's going on in some regards, like, because nothing's really going on. It's all just the emotions inside their mind, inside their body.
And it's just suggestive. Is all it is. Yeah, I mean.
But I think it worked well as far as displaying the emotions. In fact, I think it was kind of odd, maybe to us that are not as used to such scenes in movies, when Cyrano and Christian like first formed their partnership essentially, and all those soldiers were dancing inside the fort. It's kind of odd, but actually that might be my favorite scene.
That was really good. Yeah. I really liked that scene. I liked the whole, I guess you could call it a balcony scene.
Yeah, the balcony scene.
That was really well done as well, and I also really enjoyed the song at the end with the soldiers singing.
Yeah.
They're not important characters at all, but they sing this song.
That was probably
really
the
touching.
Best song.
Yeah.
Individually speaking, it's not like the best singers. They were a little like rough. Maybe that made it more authentic in some regards. But it was good. I liked it. The movie's a lot about. It's just a romance about love, essentially.
Yeah.
So
no, I think you touched on it really well. Like, we have this like great character who's like really witty. Like, the poetry in it is really well done. But he's also this excellent fighter. But he's ugly, and really it's his pride that keeps him from confessing his love. He even admits that. I really liked the singing. The dancing was okay, but it was really just nice. I liked the poetry of it. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I liked the story of it.
Yeah.
It has its ups. I mean, it's super funny actually at some points, and I was not expecting it to be
that's
that
true.
funny. I mean, it was supposed to be. That's the original play. It was a comedy of sorts, right? Or at least had comedic moments.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it to just work. Really, the way they did it, they handled it really well. I was laughing out loud at a couple points.
Yeah, same. And I was telling him on, we just saw the movie, so it's kind of fresh on our mind. That I was definitely like chuckling, and I was trying to hold. There was a moment where I almost just like burst out laughing. It was like, I don't know, maybe I was just being slap happy or something, but it was actually just hilarious.
And it's funny thinking back about it right now. So
yeah, so it was definitely entertaining. Rotten Tomatoes isn't always the best tell, but it's actually got like sitting at like an 85% or something like that right now, and I feel like that's pretty accurate. So it's pretty good. If anything, if you are acquainted with the story, only thing that disappointed me necessarily was just because I knew the story and they stayed with it pretty freaking well, that I knew exactly what was going to happen. And that's something I like about movies, is when I don't know exactly what's going to happen. When it's something like a TV show, I have a tendency to just look ahead if I'm behind, because I'm impatient and it's a long ways away anyway. But when it's like a movie, it's like, okay, I can sit here for 2 hours and do this. I already knew what was going to happen, and so it wasn't as exciting as I think it would have been if I didn't know. That's why we're not trying to do too much spoilers. But generally speaking, what would you rate it?
what would I rate it? Out of what?
Out of 10, maybe?
Out of 10? I mean, it's odd for me because I went in with no expectations. And even though it was the same story I had both read and seen before, essentially, I really enjoyed it still. And I think that was probably partially due to the musical elements that I wasn't expecting. I didn't know it was a musical going in.
I didn't tell him because I was afraid he wasn't going to go see it with me if I told him.
Yeah, so I wasn't expecting it at all. And I really enjoyed it. I mean, I'm not a huge movie person. I like something that makes me feel. And in reality, like, mostly music does that a lot, and I also thought that the poetry of it was real poetry. Okay, it was very poetic. It was very touching and very heartfelt. A lot of it was love poetry and stuff. So I really enjoyed that. So I mean, like, I guess if I were to throw a number out, I could say like 8.5 or something. Like,
okay.
I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if I'll ever watch it again. I'd like to. I think my wife would enjoy seeing it.
We've never done a video like this for it, and so I've never really sat down and thought about what would I rate certain movies. I probably like movies more than you do, but I'm pretty easy to please, generally speaking. I don't dislike most of the movies I see, but I'm not gonna go rewatch it for the most part either. It's only seldom does that really happen. But I think this movie I'd be willing to see again. I would say maybe like a 9 out of 10.
That's fair praise, I think.
Like, I think I thought it was good. I actually genuinely enjoyed it.
Yeah. And that's a similar thing to me. I mean, that's kind of why I'm not big into movies, because I don't feel like most of them are worth rewatching. There are several out there that I love rewatching, but like I would rewatch this.
Yeah,
so,
that's saying a lot, at least in our eyes. My wife can sit there and just rewatch the same movie over and over again, and she'll just quote every movie verbatim after watching it once anyway. But I feel like, and maybe this is being elitist a little bit, but it takes a lot for me to be willing to watch a movie again. But this is something I'd be willing to watch again. Yeah, if you've seen the movie, let us know what you think. Let us know if our opinions are wrong or something like that. But yeah, and also feel free to like or subscribe. Go check him out. Besides physically checking him out right here, he's beautiful, I know. This has been Seanin and Liam with Unique Arts this time. See you next time.